All right, welcome guys to the YouTube live stream. We got 4 games to talk about, a decent NBA slate, I think. We got some news to go over. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through trying to get some entries in tonight. Are there even anything up? Okay. All right, so if you guys are new to the channel, new to the live stream, how this works is we'll take a look at what we know so far. Take a look at the Vegas odds, and then I'll go team by team, talk with the players I like, and then we'll get into questions at the end. So let's go over what we know. Let's see. So some of the stuff is for the early slate, so just got to bear with me here. James Harden rolled out. We were waiting for that news. That's big, right? So I think Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant look like 2 of the better spin-ups of the slate. Let's see. A lot of the stuff is for the early slate. Some of the stuff is for Monday. So, Denny Avdija is starting. Don't expect him to play a ton of minutes. Westbrook, Beal, Avdija, Rui Hachimura, and Robin Lopez. Norman Powell did get ruled out. He was doubtful. Did not expect him to play. OG is out. Doug McDermott is in. Terrence Davis will start for OG. I think he's a viable value play. Joel Embiid out. That's pretty big news. And then we got news of the Magic starters, plus Tony Bradley is expected to start for Joel Embiid, so I think that catapults him to become one of the best value plays of the day. Let's take a look at the Vegas odds. I don't know why they don't have the over-under listed for Nets Wizards. Let me refresh this. But that one should be pretty high. I don't know why they don't have it listed, but I'm guessing it's like at least above 230. The Nets are currently 6-point favorites. Again, that's a game where 2 fast-paced teams, two teams that don't play a lot of defense. Definitely think that game has the most upside. With Magic, we have Raptors, a 215.5 over under. The Raptors are 6-point favorites. Philly, 76ers, and the Indiana Pacers, a 221 over under. The Pacers are 3-point favorites there without Embiid. And the late game is Cavs, T-Wolves, a 218 over under. The Cavs are 3-point favorites. Let's start with Philly and the Pacers. So again, the big news, Joel Embiid is out. So Tony Bradley, if he does start, I think he's one of the best value plays of the slate. He's a good point per minute guy. Would expect at least over 20 minutes from him, and at 3.1K, again, makes him a really, really good value play. This also makes Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris 2 of the best plays in the mid-range, in my opinion. Now, the last time Embiid was out, Ben Simmons was in a smash spot and picked up 4 fouls, or was in severe foul trouble, and the game blew out. So, and he was low owned too. I'm still not over that night. That was 3 games ago there against Detroit. But yeah, I like Ben Simmons below 8K. He's going to have to do a lot more offensively. So I think he is one of the better plays in the mid-range. Same thing with Tobias Harris. I think you could play them both if you want to, but both these guys should play mid to high 30s minutes, and they will be the number 1 and number 2 in the offense. Sure, it's not necessarily the best spot here against the Pacers, but I like Ben Simmons. I like Tobias Harris. As far as the value guards, I think you can make an argument for Seth Curry or Shake Milton. Seth Curry's been, kind of down recently, but he is if he's hitting shots, he can he's flashed some upside, right? He's shown 30, 40 plus fantasy point upside. So I think he's intriguing for GPPs, kind of a buy low opportunity on him. And then Shake Milton at 4-1, probably plays around 20 minutes. Again, these guys are both okay value plays. Probably would prefer Seth if I was going to take a shot on one of them. Danny Green's kind of the same player, right? Very reliant on the scoring. Those are all 3 just scoring dependent guards. And then Dwight Howard, I think, is viable off the bench. How many minutes does he play? I would say probably 15 to 20-ish, maybe a little bit more. So at 3.8, he's an interesting pivot off a chalky Tony Bradley if you want to get different in tournaments. But that's really it. I don't think I'm going to get to Korkmaz or Thibault. Korkmaz played 28 minutes the last game. I don't really trust that. Thibault, more of a defensive specialist, doesn't do much in terms of fantasy points. On the Pacers side, so Domantas Sabonis at 9-1, I think goes a little bit overlooked on the slate, right? We have, Kyrie and Kevin Durant and Beal and Westbrook, and now these 76ers guys with no Joel Embiid. I still like the price on Domantas Sabonis. Should play close to 40 minutes, stuffs the stat sheet. I think he's a very safe play. He might fly a little bit under the radar in the slate, but I do have interest in him. Malcolm Brogdon, a little bit of a secondary play from me, but still viable. Getting a lot of shots up. Has gone for 40 fantasy points the last 3 games, over 40. So I think he's a decent play. Miles Turner with no Ben Simmons or with no Joel Embiid, I'm a little bit more comfortable targeting him. Not super worried about foul trouble. So at 7-4, I think he's also a little bit more viable now. Doug McDermott is in, which makes Lamb, Holiday a little bit riskier. Those guys are all secondary plays for me. And that's really it on the Pacers side. Moving on to Brooklyn and Washington. So this is by far my favorite game to target. Real quick though, guys, if you enjoy this content, hit that like button. It does help me out a ton. Let's see. We're at 239 viewers, 17 likes. Let's try to aim for 75 likes on this live stream. That would be greatly, greatly appreciated. All right, so moving on to Brooklyn. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving with no James Harden at 10-1 and 9-3 respectively. I think they're two of the best plays in the slate. I think you could play them both if you want to. But yeah, love KD, love Kyrie. Nothing really bad to say about them. This game should stay close. It's only a 6-point spread. So really like them both in just an absolutely smash matchup here against Washington. Secondary plays, Joe Harris is fine. With Harden being out, doesn't really change things for him. He's still a guy that's very reliant in the scoring, not going to do a ton of the peripheral stats. So it's you can play him, but he just got to hit his threes. So it's nothing really changes there for Joe Harris. Nothing really changes for DeAndre Jordan too. Play about 20 minutes. He's fine, but I don't really love that. Jeff Green, I think, plays around 30-ish minutes too. Has gone over 20 fantasy points the last 4 games. Another play that secondary play, if you landed him, that's decent, but I'm definitely not going out of my way to play Jeff Green. Couple value plays I do want to mention. Don't love either, but Bruce Brown, TLC, both these guys I think play around 20-ish minutes, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. Now, Bruce Brown was not having a good game that last game until garbage time when he really got people. They bailed people out. I thought he was not a great play. But yeah, he bailed people out in garbage time. I think he's fine. I think about 20 minutes or so, he could get it done in a good matchup. Same thing with TLC. I don't expect a ton of minutes for these guys, but around 20 for them both. I think they're okay value options. Moving on to Washington. So Washington's it's only the top 2 guys I've understood. Beal and Westbrook. I think I give the edge to Westbrook. He was on pace for mid-30s minutes the last game and got ejected. So, I haven't seen anything of a minutes limit for Russell Westbrook. I assume we get close to mid-30s minutes. If that's the case at 9K, I just think that's too cheap. So I do have a good amount of interest in Russell Westbrook. I think Brad Beal's a good play as well. You definitely could play them both if you want to. Beal's upside goes down a bit with Westbrook in, but they're both firmly in play here. As far as the rest of these Washington Wizards, I'm going to stay away. There's basically everyone's healthy now, and I expect everyone to play a little bit, but no one to play a ton. So it's I'm going to completely stay away from these guys. If you want to take a shot in Bertans and hope he hits the shots, fine. He went 0 of 7 last game, went for 6 fantasy points. The previous game, 6 of 10, 26 fantasy points. Another guy very reliant on his scoring. I think if you want to go there and hope he hits the shots, that's okay. The rest of the guys, I'm just not touching them. I'm not. There's just too many bodies now. I think everyone plays 15 to 20-ish minutes, and it's just I don't have a good feeling about anyone. If you feel really strong about one of these value plays, sure, you can go to it. I'm just going to completely stay away. I have no trust in this. All right, let's refresh Fantasy Labs. Make sure we're up to date. We got 2 games left here. Yeah, we're good to go. So, Orlando, team I don't love today. I think Vucevic, Aaron Gordon are more contrarian plays. They're both going to be low owned. Vooch is always low owned, but can buy low, right? 8-7 is a decent price on Vooch. He definitely has 50 plus fantasy point upsides. I think he's an intriguing GPP play. Same with Aaron Gordon, has been terrible last couple games, but those are the 2 guys the main guys in the offense. I think they're decent contrarian options. I'm not paying 6.5 for Fournier. I'm not paying 5.4 for Ross. Cole Anthony is a fine play, but I'm not prioritizing him. Value wise, I just don't love a lot. They have too many guys that are not playing enough minutes. James Ennis, played 19, 18 minutes. Gary Clark just got extended a bit because of the blowouts, but he's such a low usage guy that I don't even know if I can go there. Dwayne Bacon's so reliant on the scoring. He's gone for over 20 the last 3 games, but it's just more of an outlier stat line here with 2 steals, 4 assists, 6 boards. That's not Dwayne Bacon. Kem Birch. None of these guys really stand out. Maybe if I had to pick one, it would be Kem Birch, who's played 26, and 24 minutes. But really, there's not anything that I love as far as Magic value. On the Toronto side, so it's a little bit different. Toronto is a team I do like today. No OG, no Powell. I think the top 3 guys look pretty good. I think Van Fleet is the guy that I would probably like the best. But all 3 of Van Fleet, Pascal Siakam, and Kyle Lowry are firmly in play here in this matchup. I like them all. Value-wise, so first I'll mention Chris Boucher. I think he's an interesting, really risky play in tournaments. He's only played 13 to 14 minutes last couple of games. He did get in foul trouble last game, did not play well. You never know, right? He's one of those guys, just like LaMelo Ball last night where I mentioned. I was like, hey, if LaMelo Ball plays 30 minutes, he's going to break the slate. And sure enough, Rozier got injured, so LaMelo Ball played huge minutes, and he broke the slate. This is the same exact thing with Boucher. I have no idea how many minutes he's going to play. He could play 10 minutes. He could play 30. If he plays 30, he could go for 50 fantasy points and break the slate. So a high risk, high reward play. It's just a matter of does he get the minutes? And again, I have no idea if he does. They've been way up and down for him. Other value plays, I think Stanley Johnson's all right. We probably get about 20 minutes from him. I actually do have some interest in Aaron Baines. 23 minutes in back-to-back games. This is a bigger team in Orlando. Like, can they use Boucher a ton against Vooch? I don't know if they can. It's like, I could see this being a game where, like, they extend Baines a little bit. He's actually been playing decent. I do have some interest in Aaron Baines for value. Again, all those minutes secure, no. Terrence Davis, I do have some interest in as well. Now, he did only play 19 minutes starting last game, but he's an aggressive player, right? So, like, and he's a good scorer. I do think, like, if he plays well, they maybe extend him, like, mid-20s minutes. So I do have some interest there in Terrence Davis. Even Yuta Watanabe, he played 24 minutes the last game. I'm expecting somewhere around 15 to 20-ish, somewhere around there, at basically min price. He's actually been a good rebounder. I have some interest in him for value. So, yeah, there's a few guys that are definitely viable here. I don't know if I get to Bembry at 3-1. If I'm going to send all the way down, I might just go to Watanabe. But yeah, like guys like Watanabe, Terrence Davis, Baines, even Stanley Johnson. I think these guys are all playable value plays. Last game here, Cleveland and Minnesota. Kind of an ugly one. Two bad teams going up against each other. I like Drummond for GPPs. He's going to fly under the radar. The price is tempting, though. And again, I love the spot here against Minnesota. He's only going to play about 28 minutes in a close game, but he's had some huge games in 28 minutes. So, like, I am intrigued by Drummond for GPPs. I also have some mention Colin Sexton in a good matchup. You know, with Sexton, he's going to get a ton of shot attempts up. It's a good matchup. I think he's firmly in play below 7K. Like them both. Nance, I'll pass on. I think Garland's fine for a filler. I think we get about 30 minutes from him. Probably around 25 or so fancy points. I think he's a decent play at that price. Jared Allen, Mets been a little up and down on him, and he's fine if you want to take a shot on him as a contrarian option. I'm probably not going to get to Prince or Okoro with Nance back. I just don't think we have to go there. And then finally, Minnesota. So we're still waiting on news with D'Angelo Russell, also Naz Reid. They're both questionable. If D'Lo plays, again, don't love it. If D'Lo misses, I think Malik Beasley would be a decent play. He would be the number one in the offense. Also, Naz Reid, currently questionable. If Naz Reid is out, I think Ed Davis makes for a pretty good value play. Ed Davis started last game and played 23 minutes. Minnesota, they don't have a lot of big bodies with no Cat, and if Naz Reid is out, this Cleveland team is big with Drummond, Nance, Jarrett Allen, so it's not like they can go small. I would assume if Ed Davis starts, he probably has to play at least over 20 minutes, and then he would be a good value play. You could make the argument for Jared Vanderbilt, who I think comes out the bench, probably plays a good amount of the backup five. He's a better point per minute guy, but he's not playing huge minutes. I think he's, again, viable. Same thing with Anthony Edwards. He started last game. He played 29 minutes. The thing I like about Anthony Edwards is he's going to get shot attempts when he's out there. Again, kind of scoring dependent, so the floor is low, but I think he's also viable. Probably not going to get to Rubio, who is really the minutes are down on him, production's down. Unless D'Lo is out, then maybe you can make the argument for him, but don't love it. And then it's like they have a bunch of these, like this team just reminds me of Golden State, where they just have a bunch of guys playing 15 to 20 minutes off the bench. It's like, I don't really love any of the other value plays in Minnesota. All right, so that's kind of it for my my little breakdown there. I know it's only 4 games. Let's make sure we're up to date. We are. So yeah, let's get to some questions, guys. Stay on for a good 10 minutes. Almost 400 viewers, 64 likes. I appreciate that, guys. Thank you. Love the info, DK. Thank you, man. I do really appreciate that. Westbrook, the hot boy right now. I think Westbrook, like, again, he had 27 minutes and he got ejected at the beginning of the fourth quarter. Like, I think he was on pace for at least over 30. So, like, I'm guessing we probably get close to mid-30s minutes from Westbrook, which makes him a good play in my opinion. For value, is it better to play Howard and Bradley or Bradley and Brown? That's a good question. I think the floor is a little bit higher to just play both the 76ers centers. Like, will Tony Bradley play like 30 plus minutes? I'm not sure if he does. I think we might get a like somewhat even split with them. So maybe like 24 and 24, maybe not exactly down the middle, but like I would rather have that than go to Brown. Just personally, like I think Brown is a lower usage guy. I don't think he's a terrible value play. Is Philly Indy game stackable? Yeah, I think you could stack it. I think you could. If I was going to stack another game besides Brooklyn, Washington, I think it would be Philly Indy. And what I would probably do would be like Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, one of the value centers, probably Bradley, and then run it back with like Sabonis. I think that's what I would do. KD or Kyrie. If I had to pick, I would go KD, but I love them both. Who has the biggest upside regardless of price? Brogdon, Simmons, or VanVleet? That's a good question. That's a really good question. I would say either Simmons or VanVleet here. I think it's Simmons. For me, but that's close. It is close. Love Sabonis versus Toronto tonight. Yeah, I think Sabonis flies under the radar. I do kind of like him for tournaments. Like, he'll probably pick up some ownership, but I don't like. We have KD and Kyrie. We have Westbrook and Beal. We have now Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris. Like, those spend ups are, where people are going to look. I just think Sabonis, it goes a little bit overlooked. Bradley starting, yeah. So Tony Bradley, I think, is one of the best value plays with him starting. Unless there's some severe foul trouble, I assume we get over 20 minutes from him. Sabonis or Kyrie, I do have to go Kyrie, even though he's even more popular. I like the upside more in Kyrie. Favorite Raptors value play? I don't know if I have one. I think there's a group of like 3 or 4 guys with like Baines, Davis, Watanabe, Stanley Johnson. I don't know if one really stands out. Like, none of their minutes are secure either, right? No one played huge minutes. So, like, I don't have like a super strong take on which one is my favorite there, but I would think like those 4 guys, I think you could like mix and match. Edwards or Watanabe. So if you get to Edwards. Like, Watanabe is just a salary relief play if you're going stars and scrubs. Like, if you're playing him, you're hoping for like 10 to 15 fancy points. 4K for utility. I would say, well, I'm guessing you already have Tony Bradley in there. I think I would go either Dwight or Baines. I still think Dwight gets some decent minutes here. I would think Dwight plays about 20 or so. So like I would say one of like either Dwight or Baines. Yeah, Bruce Brown's playable too. Again, those Brooklyn value plays are fine. They're low usage guys, but they should, like Bruce Brown and TLC, I expect both of them to play about 20-ish minutes. They both hit their shots last game, so that's why they both got there. But yeah, lower usage guys, they're both in play as well. Howard or Birch, I think I would rather have Dwight. Kyrie or KD? KD. Yeah, I think you can. I think you can play them both together, to be honest. I don't think Bradley plays like 35 minutes like Embiid. So it's like I'm expecting maybe like mid to high 20s minutes for Bradley and maybe like low to mid 20s minutes for Dwight. That's what I'm guessing. Fading Beal and Westbrook tonight? You can. Like, if you fade them both, maybe you're hoping for the blowout there, and maybe you don't get a ton of exposure to that game. Yeah, I think Dwight Howard is still in play. Yeah, there's a little bit. It's a 6-point spread, so a little bit of blowout risk. Bertans or Green? I think the safer option is Green. Now, upside-wise, Bertans probably has a little bit more upside, but it's like he's very reliant on his three-point shooting. Simmons, Lowry, or Tobias and VanVleet? That's a good question. I think I'll go Simmons and Lowry, but both options are like very similar. Like, I prefer Simmons slightly to Tobias. I prefer VanVleet slightly to Lowry, so it's like you're splitting hairs there. Sexton or Garland? If you can get to Sexton, he has more upside. Do you think Tobias is going to be going up against Sabonis? I think so. I think Bradley will be on Miles Turner. I'm guessing Tobias will be on Sabonis. Watanabe sleeper play. I think he's fine for value. I don't love it, but I think he's probably plays somewhere around 15 to 20 minutes. Would you fade Bradley in GPPs? It's a pretty risky fade. Like, I know he's going to be popular, but almost mid-price. I have a hard time seeing him busting. He's a good point per minute guy. I'm going with Harris, screw Ben Simmons. Yeah, he screwed us last time. I'm perfectly fine if you want to go Tobias over Ben Simmons. That's completely fine with me. Gordon or Jeff Green? Aaron Gordon, you mean? Well, Aaron Gordon, if you can get to him. Philly will get blown out, so I got to assume Bradley will play more. I mean, they're honestly, like, Philly without Embiid is a pretty bad team. They got blown out by Detroit last game without him. Jeff Green or Seth Curry? It's a good question. I think Jeff Green is a little bit safer. I think Seth Curry has a little bit more upside. Now, Seth Curry, I kind of like him as a buy low tonight for tournaments. He's reliant on the scoring. Has not been good shooting recently, but like if he gets his shot going, he can go for 30 plus. So, like, upside-wise, I think it's Seth Curry. Yeah, you don't have to play Ben Simmons. You don't. TLC or Bruce Brown, I think you're splitting hairs with that one. I don't have a super strong take. I expect both of them to play around 20 minutes, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. Yeah, I don't have a strong take there. Simmons, 3 fouls in the first. You already know what's going to happen. Robin Lopez, I'm probably not going to do it. I would rather get to those other value centers. Minutes went down on him too. We only played 20 minutes. Again, they have Mo Wagner, they have Len. They have so many guys that I have a hard time trusting his minutes. Westbrook for cash, yeah, I think that's fine. Simmons, easy fade, yeah, you don't have to play Simmons. TLC or Watanabe for GPP. Upside's probably a little bit higher on TLC if he hits his shots. Again, I don't have like a really strong take there either. D'Lo in. Okay, so let's go to Fantasy Labs real quick. Raptors will start Van Fleet, Davis, okay, yeah. Lowry, Van Fleet, Davis, Siakam, Van Fleet. Nas, game time decision, D'Lo will play. All right. Stanley or TLC. Again, like some of these like fringe value guys I don't have a strong take on. Like I expect both to play about 20 minutes. I don't like TLC had a better game last game, but it could easily be Stanley Johnson. I think that's like don't like those fringe value guys. I don't really like love any of them, but like they're all fine filler plays to go in stars and scrubs. You just got to hope the guy you play doesn't kill you, right? So like they're both in play. I don't have a take there. Anthony Edwards love. I think Anthony Edwards is decent. The reason I think he's viable here for tournaments is because he is a guy that when he's out there shoots the ball a ton, right? He's been very aggressive, does have a somewhat low floor, but he's at 5'3". It's like I could see that working out. So yes, I have some interest in him for tournaments. I prefer the Stars and Scrubs tonight just because I really like the Stars in that Brooklyn-Washington game. Now, if that game blows out, I'm going to lose, right? And it could blow out. It's a 6-point spread, so it's not out of the question. That Washington team is terrible. Sabonis or Vooch? I think I'd rather have Sabonis. Is Siakam or Tobias? That's a good question. I'll give the edge to Tobias slightly now with no Joel Embiid, but they're both good plays in that mid-range. Van Fleet, I do like Van Fleet. One of KD, Kyrie, Westbrook, and Drummond fine as a core to build around with all the value. Yeah, for sure. D'Lo playing, yes, Davis is chalk according to Fantasy Cruncher. Ed Davis, yeah. If there's no Naz Reid, I think Ed Davis is a good value play. Prize Picks plays, I honestly haven't looked at it at all. I can take a look really quick. Let's see. Well, obviously under on Joel Embiid. But they'll take that off. Honestly, I think that's kind of low on Westbrook, 41. I think that looks pretty decent for over. Ben Simmons over 39 too. I kind of like that with no Joel Embiid. You can make the argument for like Tobias too. It's like those two 76ers plus maybe Westbrook. I'm thinking for over. Davis or Baines? Yeah, so I think Baines is a little bit safer. A little bit of a higher floor due to like rebounding. Davis a little bit more reliant on the scoring. Davis's minutes are not secure either. I mean, neither really are Baines, but like I think Davis has a little bit more upside if things go right. Like if he starts off hot, if Terrence Davis starts off hot and like they might leave him out there a little bit longer, he's a good scorer. So like upside wise might be Terrence Davis. Do we need a Raptor in your lineup for one of the top three? I don't think it's a must. But like all three of them look pretty good. Yes, Sabonis TLC or Tobias and Jeff Green. Probably the second one's a little bit safer. And TLC, it just depends on if he hits his shots. Thanks for the Zeller take. Wouldn't have thought of him. Oh, no problem, man. Joe Harris, his role doesn't change a ton. It's just a matter of does he hit a shot. So it's like, it's okay if you landed him, but like he's not gonna play. He's not gonna have like a higher usage with no Harden. It's just a matter of does he hit his threes. Yeah, so like Garland is way safer than Boucher. He'll play about 30 minutes most likely, so it's definitely the safer option. Boucher is like, it depends on your risk tolerance. Like he could play only like 10 to 12 minutes tonight, and it'll completely ruin your lineup. Or maybe things turn around. He plays 25 to 30, and then he wins you a tournament. So it's like, it's such a high risk. It depends on your risk tolerance. Beal or Durant. Westbrook, Van Fleet, Durant, Sabonis, Bradley, Bruce Brown, Watanabe, and Howard. I think that's decent. Is Anthony Edwards? Yeah, I think he started still the last game. So like if he starts again, I would have a little bit more interest in him. Kyrie or Westbrook? Kyrie if I had to pick there, but I like them both a lot. Cole Anthony love, that's fine. I don't love him, but like that's fine. Lamb or Holiday? Secondary options for me with Doug McDermott back. Minutes are a little bit riskier on both of them. Joe Harris, again, his role doesn't change much. Milton, Davis, Edwards, KD, Bradley, Westbrook, Tobias, Van Fleet. Thoughts? I think that's decent. Like, Shake Milton will be lower owned. I expect about 20-ish minutes from him. Honestly, would probably rather have Seth Curry, but that doesn't mean Shake Milton can't outscore him. Baines or Bradley. Terrence Davis or Bruce Brown, Terrence Davis. Jared Allen for value. You can do it. He'll be lower owned. Bradley or Dwight Howard. Bradley because he's starting, but I like them both. I realistically think you could play both if you want to. Risk it with Davis or Baines. So I think the upside is a little bit higher on Davis. He did only play 19 minutes last game. Baines is probably a little bit of the safer option. But like I said, if things go right and Terrence Davis starts off hot, maybe they leave him in for like 25 to 30 minutes total, and he's a good scorer. So it's like, I think upside might be a little bit higher on Terrence Davis. Again, Cole Anthony's like a filler. I think it's decent, but I'm definitely not a priority. Tobias Harris or Lowry and Cash? That's a good question. I like them both a lot. Kind of depends on what the rest of your lineup looks like. If you have no Raptors, then maybe I go Lowry. If you have no like 76ers, I go Tobias. So, like, you're splitting hairs with those two guys. Bradley or Davis? Bradley. Like the video, it really helps out a lot. Yeah, it does, guys. Thank you. We're at 91 likes. I appreciate that. Baines or Dwight Howard? That's a good question. I think I'll prefer Baines slightly, but like, they're almost identical plays to me. TLC or Baines? Baines, I would go Baines there. Should I play Bruce Brown if I'm hoping for the blowout? If you're hoping for the blowout, Bruce Brown probably will play a little bit in the blowout, right? He checked back in that last slate in garbage time and kind of crushed. So it's like, yeah, you could play Bruce Brown, hope for the blowout. TLC, again, him and Bruce Brown are very similar plays to me. Low floor, just depends on if they hit their shots. I think Vanderbilt's viable. If Naz Reid is out, I expect him to play the backup 5 and play mid-20s minutes, a decent point per minute guy. Kyrie Davis, Yuta, KD, Tony Bradley, Westbrook, Simmons, and Dwight. I like that. Ed Davis or Baines? Depends. If Naz Reid is out, I might prefer Ed Davis, but those two plus Dwight, I think, are like very similar plays right now. Brown or Watanabe? Which Brown? Oh, Bruce Brown or Watanabe? I don't have a strong take on that either. Like those fringe value guys, I don't really have a take. Yeah, I guess it depends how many Raptors you have and like how many Nets you have. It's like both those, like Brown should play about 20, Watanabe probably 15 to 20. They're both low usage guys, but you're just hoping neither of them kill you. Bertans or Brown, so like upside wise is probably Bertans, but he has a very low floor. Raptors and Magic, like what, straight up? Raptors probably. Bradley season, yeah. Ed Davis or Watanabe? Ed Davis. Who are your favorite value plays tonight? I think those value centers. KD, Kyrie, Rustak. I like that. Kyrie, Gordon, or Lowry, Siakam. Kyrie and Gordon for me. Beasley love. With D'Lo in, he's more of a secondary play. Baines or Howard. Already have Bradley. I guess Baines then, but I think you could play them both together, like Howard and Bradley. Can I play Russ and Beal together? Yeah. Like, that'll be a little bit different. That'll differentiate yourself playing them both together instead of like both the Nets spend-ups. All right, one more minute, guys, and I do it to get out of here. I appreciate everyone coming to check out the stream. Davis and Watanabe, I think you could play them both, yeah. I mean, they're not going to play huge minutes, but they allow you to get those stars in there. Sabonis or Turner? Sabonis. Davis or Yuta. Again, upside-wise, I think it's a little bit higher in Davis. Edwards is overpriced. Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that's only a tournament play for me. Brown starting. Yeah, so Bruce Brown's fine. Again, with him starting, I think we get about 20-ish minutes. So, like, yes, he's in play for value. Danny Green or Curry. Simmons, Van Fleet, Harris, Sabonis, Bradley. Yeah, I think that's fine. Ennis a good choice. I don't expect huge minutes from him. I probably prefer the other value, but not saying he can't get there. Yeah, I think Watanabe is viable. He's been playing decent. I expect somewhere around 15 to 20 minutes. Bruce Brown started. I expected him to start, so like minutes wise, I'm guessing about 20. Again, he's fine. Ed or Dwight. If there's no Naz Reid, I'd rather have Ed. Van Fleet or Vooch? Van Fleet. Harris or Simmons? Rather have Simmons. Thanks, DK. All right, guys, I have to get out of here. I appreciate everyone coming to check the live stream. 400 viewers on a Sunday for 4-game slate. That is really good. So thank you guys again. I'll have a video up for tomorrow's slate later tonight. Good luck to you guys, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow.